Hey guys, so today I'm going to be looking at the KDE based Ubuntu distribution for 14.10 Kubuntu. Now this is the final snapshot beta, which means it might be a little bit rough around the edges, but should give a pretty good impression about what to expect come October when the final release swings around. Now, I've mentioned this on previous first impressions reviews on the other iterations of Ubuntu, so I'll mention it here, but I've been unable to actually install the CD onto my virtual machine. So I'm actually running the live CD at the moment, which actually gives you a pretty good rundown about what to expect. It gives you an example of the software bundle and the visuals for the installation. But like I say, this is a final snapshot beta, so there are still going to be some bugs that are going to be needing to work out, and it's going to be a little bit rough around the edges. But again, it should give us a good idea about what to expect. So. KDE, right. It's always been one that I've actually quite enjoyed using. I liked that it's been quite polished, although I've got to admit, in my experience, I've had a fair number of problems with the bugginess of Kwin. I don't know whether or not, or how far they've gone to actually work out those particular bugs, and they've been minor bugs at worst, really. So so it's not too much to concern ourselves over. So anyway. This is, it always reminds me a little bit of Windows 7, does KDE. In fact, it was Windows 7 before Windows 7 was even thought up. But it does use, of course, the panel menu, and a panel menu design which I actually quite like. I like the idea that the categories are nice at the bottom, so you don't have to go moving your mouse around too much to actually get to where you want to go. It's just menu button, applications, internet, and then do that. Now, a lot of people will use the search box. So if you wanted to do Firefox, for example, you could do that. I don't know if there is a quick launch shortcut, so let's have a look at the application launcher settings, keyboard shortcut. So it's Alt F1, Alt F1. Right, well I can't just have the the meta. I have meta and Z. Does that? Oops. That, right. Right, okay. There we go. So, so you can't have the Windows key to actually open up the menu, neither could you on the Ubuntu installation, but you can do Windows and Z, or Meta and Z, and then just type in Firefox if you want to do a keyboard-based navigation. I'm going to assume that Alt and F2, yeah. So I'd go with Alt and F2, to be honest. Alt and F2 works in LXDE, it works in KDE, and I'm pretty sure it works in the other desktop environments. That's a pretty standard practice now at this point that comes up. So, I've got to admit, this is quite a graphically pleasing desktop, and KDE has always paid a good, a decent amount of homage to eye candy as well, and it's one of the things I've always liked about it. I'm not a big person for particularly frivolous and desktop effects and things like that, but I like that there is the option to have them there, because I know that it caters to people that do kind of like something a little bit more pretty. Personally, I just want responsiveness as, you know, as much as I can. So, let's have a look at the software bundle. Comes with Firefox. Now, it could come, of course, with Konqueror, which is the KDE default browser. But again, Firefox, I think, it's a nice gold standard in regards to browsers. The licensing is good. It's a company like Mozilla, of course, being a non-profit organization, means that it's more trustworthy than, say, its corporate competitors, and it's a nice starting point. Now, maybe you might be a Chromium or Google Chrome fan. You might even require Google Chrome if you use a lot of Flash online, but it's nice that it makes the initial offering as the Firefox browser, simply because it's one that everyone can get along with to one degree or another. Okay, so it's got your Dolphin file manager. That's your sort of garden variety KDE file manager. Well, that's pretty nifty. It's got a nice little history thing on the side there. You can search for documents, you can search for audio files. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, I kind of like Dolphin on that capacity there. It comes, of course, with KDE Instant Messaging Contacts. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at what instant messaging accounts are available on the KDE Instant Messenger. We've got Jabber XMPP, KDE Talk. I didn't know that was a thing. Google Talk, of course, that's pretty awesome. That uses XMPP, but it doesn't use the it doesn't connect with other servers. It says that it's worried about spam being an issue there on Google Talk, which is, I guess, there's some degree of justification in it. But I would like to see Google be a front runner in XMPP. They said they said they attempted it, but for reasons basically surrounding that none of the other companies kind of wanted to work with Google on this, when they'd rather compete than cooperate. Google decided to put XMPP on the back burner, at least when it comes to communicating, cross-server, which is a shame. And then it's got all. Let's have a look at all. So it's got Yahoo Messenger, Zephyr, Windows Live Messenger, Novell Groupwise, KDE Talk, Jabber, Google Talk. Don't know what Gadu is. AOL Instant Messenger. A number of these have got to be XMPP based, haven't they? Oh, Windows Live Messenger uses XMPP. Yeah, but Windows Live Messenger, is that depreciated? Is that even being used anymore? Because I'd imagine it would at some point be absorbed into Skype, which is very proprietary, and Skype is bad. We don't like Skype. Because it's just crummy support for Windows. Like, I mean, at least with Google Hangouts, and at least with Google as a company, we might have our criticisms of it, but at least they contribute something to the open source community, or at least they contribute a lot more to the open source community than Microsoft, as well as a lot more Linux support for Flash and just about everything else as well. Of course, minus the ever not present Google Drive client, which we're still expecting, but yeah, there we go. Okay, anyway, enough of that particular ramble. So Blue Devil with Bluetooth management. It comes with a solid feed reader, IRC client. This is a very full. This is a very full feature set. A CF editor. What's that? Is that a plain text editor? Not entirely sure what it is. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what the CF editor is. What else have we got here? Let's have a look at the Office. So it comes installed with LibreOffice. Again, I do believe there is a KDE in-house kind of Office suite, but for one reason or another, they've decided not to include that. It's almost like Kubuntu is... I don't know, it seems like it's trying to appeal to what the majority of people would like to use, even if that's not necessarily what's within the confines of KDE's own libraries, which I've got to admit is pretty sensible. Really, so I certainly respect them for that decision, and not being too insular and not being too inward-looking, I guess. And then you've got all the settings. Now, I won't go through the system settings too much because there are a lot of them. KDE is fantastic when it comes to customization. You can customize it so that it requires less speed or less system resources, so it runs faster. And you can change just so much of the visuals as well. The desklets are also quite good. You can add all the widgets there, and there are a lot of widgets. Yeah, a lot of widgets that can go on the desktop. Now, I've never been a desktop widgets kind of person, but that being said, if you are into your desktop widgets, you will absolutely adore what KDE has to offer. So, again, it doesn't appear to have moved on too much. There do seem to be like steady improvements, as there have been with all the other Ubuntu distributions. So, fair play to them on that one. Again, the community-based Ubuntu distributions are sort of slow and steady. They're progressing in the way that they should. They're not doing anything drastic. They're not doing anything stupid either. And I've got to give them kudos for that one, because sometimes it can be impulsive. Sometimes you really want to shake things up a bit, not necessarily for the benefit of the community, but for just trying to break outside the box once in a while. But I'm happy to say that I do feel that the needs and desires of the community appear to have been met here, and they appear to have been respected, and I think that that's a very good thing, a very responsible thing, and I think that KDE and Kubuntu are moving in the direction that's beneficial to their users by the looks of it. One thing that has stood out to me, now I test all my all these distributions on virtual machines. And when you do test distributions on virtual machines, you take a performance hit, which means that it might be a little more staggery. You might get a fewer frames per second, so it might look a bit uglier. Sometimes you can't get the 3D visual, nice graphical effects working. As you can see, if I just open up the Dolphin File Manager again, the 3D virtual effects work really nice, and in fact it's very responsive for a virtual machine that's running a live CD. So they seem to a lot of the improvements here, and like I said, I didn't review KDE 6 months ago when it came out on the long-term support release, but compared to how bad it could be and how bad I'd be willing to overlook it, it's actually massively surpassed performance expectations. So again, kudos to them on that one, because it looks good and it runs nicely, and those two, I suppose, ideally and really should go hand in hand, and they do here. So judging from what I see here, and I'm not the biggest KDE user in the world, so I might not even necessarily be the best person to lay any recommendations out. But if I was a KDE user, and if the things that KDE focused on were the same things that I focused on, I'd be very, very happy with this distribution, really. So so again, as with the rest of the community-based Ubuntu distributions, it's a steady improvement, and it's one that respects the integrity of the community, or at least it certainly looks like that way to me. So, and it comes with a fantastic software bundle, actually, arguably probably one of the best. I mean, that KDE instant messaging client is definitely one of the best I've seen, if not the best I've seen. Dolphin File Manager, again, it looks pretty amazing. What is the email client, actually? What is the email client? Is it the mail? Oh, it's Kmail. Let's have a look at Kmail, because all the others have come with Thunderbird, with the exception, I think, of Kubuntu, which is interesting, actually, because Kmail, yeah. Tip of the day. That actually looks really nice. Yeah. Nicely integrated, I'd imagine. Work offline. Automatic archiving. Yeah, I'd be quite happy if I was a KDE user. I'd quite like the look of that, actually. Again, it's nice when your programs integrate well into your desktop environment. But then again, I guess at times it sometimes maybe, I don't know, I say it might feel like it restricts your choice, but it doesn't necessarily restrict your choice, because instead of having the KDE based Office suite, they've included LibreOffice, which is something that's a little more universal. So just because KDE comes with a full suite of just about every kind of application you can imagine, doesn't mean you're restricted to it. And again, that's to be respected. And I like the choice and modularity of KDE and the Qt libraries, and I think the Qt libraries have been moving lightning fast in terms of their progression, in terms of their development, and it's looking really, really good. And I'm going to be looking forward a lot to when my personal favorite desktop environment, LXDE, starts moving over to Qt libraries in a big way, and when Ubuntu starts using the Qt libraries, because I think we'll see a massive improvement in the quality of bundled software, and I think we'll see a much greater improvement in integration and visual appeal and all of that good stuff. So so I certainly owe a lot to the KDE community, even though I may not be a particularly active member in it. And let's not beat around the bush. The best open source software is Qt based. You Scribus, Kdenlive, VLC Media Player, you know, they are very, very good piece of software, and they all work in the Qt libraries. So that's about it from me today. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to let me know what you think down in the comment section below, and until next time, I've been Chris Ware, and you've been awesome. Take care now. So this is just the end slate, just to let you guys know what other kind of projects I'm working on. For those of you that don't know, I have a second channel where I do more informal, casual type stuff, and I also have a gaming channel, so if you guys are into that kind of stuff, you might want to check those out. Also, if you want to ask me any questions or just have a chat about whatever it is that I've been talking about in this video, feel free to check out my Twitter and my Tumblr as well. I spend a fair amount of time on them. Toodaloo.